Hey, what's up everyone, this is DCSG81 and today in this special video we'll take a look into which is the best SH Figuarts, the Avengers Endgame figures that has been released so far. Okay, so this is a special video which is actually a request video by one of my viewer, which I find it very interesting, is that he asked me to actually do a review, not to say review, something like a rating, and see which is the best figures that has been released by the SH Figuarts for the Avengers Endgame by far. Then I told him that we will have to wait for this Mark 85 to come first, because after that it will be a long wait before the Avengers Hawkeye to come out. I think Nebula will be released first, but Nebula is for the Infinity War, not the Endgame one. And also then lastly will be the ever so handsome the Professor Hulk, which I think I will skip that because in fact it looks very bad to me. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so this will be the sequence which I will rate each and every of the figures, and also by rating I means that I will look into 4 areas that you can see on the screen as I go on. So the first areas that I will look into is the overall aesthetic look of the figure, which means that we'll take a look at the figure, whether it's looking good or whether there's a bad design, and the body, is it a new body mold or is it a reuse or things like that. Okay, and as for the second factors, which you can see here, is the screen accuracy, or what we would like to call the likeness of the figures compared to the actual actors to the screen. Where in this area we'll of course look into the paintings and whether the design of the suits, whether it's accurate to the movie design. Yep. And as for the third one, which you can see here, which I find it is a bit subjective, because this is what I like to call the fun factors, and this includes like how much that we can do with the figure. And of course when I talk about how much we can do, we'll look into the accessories as well, and yep, so how much fun we can have, does it have more hits to interchange and things like that. And the fourth one is the simplest one, which is also the review score, because I believe I have reviewed each and every of the figures in my channel, and after every review I will actually, at the end of the video, I have a verdict, and if you remember, I'll give a score out of 10. So that score will actually be straight included into this rating. So overall, other than the 4 factors, the first 3 factors will actually have 5 scoring. Okay, so for the 5 points, of course, the full point, which is the 5 point, is perfect. The fourth one is actually good. The third one is actually average, and the second point is for room for improvement, or it can be better. And of course, if you get 1 point, it means it sucks. Okay, so I will start with this Iron Man Mark 50 Nano Weapon Set 2. Actually, I was about to exclude him because I remember Mark 50 is actually a suit for the Infinity War, but when I check again, they actually says that it's from the Endgame. So let me show you again. See, Avengers Endgame. So no choice, I have to include him. And okay, so before I get started, this will be a long video. Hopefully I'll try to shorten it as much as possible as I can. And so grab a popcorn, get a soda, and enjoy the show. Okay, so let's start with the overall look of the figure. As we all know already that this figure look absolutely gorgeous, and I don't think there's any reason for me to say it's bad looking, because it's looking very good. Even the original Mark 50 from Infinity War, that the standalone ones, looks exactly the same. I have actually compared it before in one of my video. So yeah, so I can't give it a perfect 5 because it's not a new mold. Okay, I did mention that this one also consider whether it's a new body mold or not. So it's actually a reuse, but they actually make some of the portions removable for these weapons to be included on. So it's great. So I'll give it a 4, which is good. It's not perfect, so it's good. And yeah, so for the next portion, which is the screen accuracy, so actually I have not I have tried to rewatch the Infinity War again, and I didn't notice whether these weapons actually came out. Even for this one, I think it's on the Mark 85 when he's fighting Thanos, and he say hit me Thor, you know. But even that, it doesn't really look like this. It looks a little different. If you watch again, it looks a little different. So I would say that in terms of the figure itself, it actually looks pretty much on the screen, accurate to the screen. But in terms of the accessories, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I have seen the fight, because he's so fast. I mean, the armors, weapons coming up from him basically everywhere in a split second. I can see the Takara Tony shield, the Takara Tony, most of the Takara Tony accessory I can see on the screen, but this I don't really see. Maybe you can tell me which scene is that. I rewatched the scene where they are fighting Thanos on the planet Titans, as well as the earlier beginning of the Infinity War movie in the New York where he's fighting. I don't see he actually have all these as well. So to that, I would say to the screen accuracy, I'll have to give it maybe a 2, which is room for improvement. Yep, it's not very high score because I don't think these are exits in the movie. Yep. So for the fun factor of this figure, I think is perfect. I'll give it a 5 because as I mentioned in my review, this is something new, because when you buy this set, Nano Weapon Set 2, you actually get the option of having him fully armored like this, or you can actually have the blast as well, or you can actually remove everything, strip off everything and just be a normal Mark 50, which is it's like you're buying 2 in 1. Okay, so this is the fun factor is a lot, because the accessory is a lot for this Iron Man. It's like there's so much fun that you can do with it. You can actually put it on or without the armor. Yeah, the only thing missing is the Armas Tony head, which they fail to give, but it's alright. I think the armor of this one and you can take off is already good enough, so I'll give it a 5. Okay, and okay, so for the last one, the scoring for this one in my review, I actually give him a 10 out of 10. It's a perfect figure because I really love this figure a lot. Yep, so you can see, so now I actually put it on the screen at the perfect 10 out of 10. Okay, so the final score for this is 21 out of 25, which is a very high score. So let's move on to the second contestant. Okay, so sorry, I think I made a mistake about the screen accuracy just now. Although I mentioned that some of these doesn't look that it appear on the screen, but I don't think he deserves such a low score of 2, which is can be improved. I think he deserves at least a 3, which is an average. Yeah, so because it's still looking pretty accurate if you don't take a look into all the armors. Sorry, all the nano weapons. You just take a look at the figure itself, it looks pretty accurate to the screen actually. Okay, so his final score is actually 22 out of 25. Okay, so next we'll take a look into the Black Widow. Again, the overall look is very nice. I mentioned in my review before, she looks very premium, very exclusive type of feel when you the bodysuit is very nice. So I'm not sure whether this is actually a reuse of any female bodies, but to me she looks at least if I compare it to the previous Black Widow, I think the mold, maybe the mold is not new, but at least the clothing on her is I think is a new one, because it looks very good. And you can see the patterns here, just like the exclusive Black Panther. Yeah, so for this one, I think it's actually worth I say it's a perfect for the overall aesthetic look of it. Okay, as for the lightness or screen accuracy, I believe I don't have to say much. She looks very alike to Scarlett Johansson's, so there's no doubt about it. Even the other face which I that comes with it look exactly like her. Okay, so again, the paint wise I think is pretty good. For a girl, if it is for a guy then it might be too pale, but for a girl I think she looks fine. So this one again, I would say that she's looking very good, but somehow I just don't feel that she's perfect. Just can't point it out why, but she deserves a 4 for it's a good screen accuracy. So as for fun factor, again, she comes with lots of accessory as well, although not as much as the nanotech just now. So she comes with guns and the baton, and also yeah, a few more things. Yeah, so I think the fun factor for her is again, I think she should be a good, again, not perfect. Yeah, somehow I just feel that how do I say it? She just can't pass it for perfect somehow, but it's really good. She have lots of accessories. Okay, so I'll give her a 4 in the fun factors. And as for the review score, I remember you can see on the screen now, I actually give her a 9.5 out of 10, which is pretty high. Okay, so the total score of her is 22.5 out of 25, which is the highest by far. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one we have the Captain America. Okay, so the overall look of it is looking good to me, but again, I would say is that this is just a reuse of the Infinity War body, maybe just some paint repaint here and there, and of course the texture here around the star symbols is actually maybe it's a new one, but the body mold I believe is the same as the one from the Infinity War. And even the head, although the lightness has been improved, but again, it just they just work here and there and somewhere. Yeah, so it doesn't consider, I mean, it doesn't look like a brand new mold body. So again, for this one, I'm giving it a 3, which is average. Okay, so the next one, lightness, screen accuracy. The lightness, I believe, as I mentioned before, he actually looks pretty good for Chris Evans' head, although the one from Marvel Legends is better. But for SH Figuarts, it actually looks very like the lightness is better compared to all the rest of the SH Figuarts. You can see my comparison video, I do have one in my channel. So yeah, so by far this one does look like Chris Evans the most. Yeah, so for that I would say is that somehow I don't think he deserves perfect. I'll just give him a 4. Okay, which is good. Okay, so the next one, fun factor. Okay, so fun factor involve the accessory, and he only comes with this one, and the head is just another one that's looking to the right. Okay, so it's pretty disappointing, at least for me, because it doesn't come with much. So I would say the fun factor is maybe just a 2, can be improved. Yeah. Okay, and the review score for him, which I previously gave him on his review, is 8 out of 10, as you can see on the screen. Okay, so the final total score for him is 17 out of 25, which is the lowest by far. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so next one we got the Mad Titan Thanos here. So for the overall look, I think he actually looks pretty good with the armor on. They actually nailed it pretty well with the goldish here, and it's looking very intimidating. Yeah, so okay, as for the whether it's a new body mold, I think the underlying body mold is still the same as the original Thanos from the Infinity War version, but they just add up something here and there, like the armor part, just to make him like fully in armor. So it's still not an entirely new body mold, I would say, but at least they actually enhance it further to make him looks very good like this now. Okay, so for that I would think that is actually maybe I'll give him a 4 out of 5, which is good. Okay, and okay, so the next one will be the lightness or screen accuracy. So lightness wise, the face yeah, it's always been pretty good. You can see it's the same face that came with the Thanos from Infinity War, so nothing changed. But the armor wise, in terms of screen accuracy, is already wrong, because as you remember, I have a video that says how to change this portion. This is actually at the front, but later on after I change it, yeah, I actually noticed that by right it should have these 3 pieces of armor for both front and back. So this one is already wrong, and also he shouldn't have this gauntlet. He should have the one, he shouldn't have this Infinity Gauntlet, he should have the one from the Tony Stark one. So this is wrong as well. And as for his weapon, it's also a wrong design. Is the correct one, I can show you on the screen now. You actually have a curving here. So all these are actually wrong, these 3 things. Okay, so I'll bring down the score a lot, even though the lightness is there. So I'll give him a 2, a room for improvement. Okay, and as for the fun factor, again, yeah, they actually replaced this one, the weapon, for his snapping hand. Yep, again, so this one I think is a good choice. Although I prefer it come with the snapping hand as well, it'll be much more fun. But you can interchange it with the Infinity War one. And also he doesn't come with an unmasked head. Okay, so he's always stuck with the helmet. But you can use the Infinity War head on him, and also you can actually do something like this. Oops, sorry, to remove the face, and something like this to make it look like he has a helmet. Okay, an empty helmet. So to me, this one is one of the fun factor as well. Okay, but he's lacking a those who didn't get the Infinity War Thanos, they will not have a unmasked head. Okay, but if you have the that one, so there'll be more fun that you can actually put the unmasked head on this body, and then he can hold this, so it makes him look like he actually remove it. Okay, so for the fun factor, I would say just a 3 average. Yeah. Okay, so lastly, the score that I gave him in my previous review for him is actually a 9 out of 10, so it's not that bad at all. Okay, so the final score for this big guy is actually 18 out of 25, just a score better than the Captain America. Okay, so let's move on to the next contestant. Okay, so the next one we have this small guy, the Ant Man. Okay, so for the overall look, he looks pretty much the same as the one that I got from, no, sorry, it doesn't look the same as the Civil War, but it looks the same as the one from the Ant-Man and the Wasp Ant-Man. Okay, so there's nothing much different. Maybe the paint here and there are some slight difference, even, and also the design. I think the most different is the helmet that actually allows you to see through, but the one from the Ant-Man and the Wasp doesn't do that. So this is one of the improvement, but in terms of the body, I think they just reuse the whole thing. Yep, so it doesn't have any different. If you have that one, it basically is the same one except for the helmet. So that is not very good to me, because it's just the same body move. I'll say I'll give him a 2 actually, room for improvement. As for the next one, the screen lightness, yep, he looks very good in terms of the screen lightness. And if you just look at this, I can't really tell because there is no human face, but this one actually comes with one. So this is very good. I would say the screen likeness for him to the actor is very well done. Yep, they actually give the helmet that is open when the helmet is open, so yes, they actually thought of that, so it's very good for this one. So the screen likeness, actually I'll give him a 4, which is good. Okay, and for the fun factor, again, this Ant Man has always been pretty disappointing because they didn't give much, except for the one from Civil War. They actually give him a miniature of Ant Man. Yeah, but this doesn't come with anything except the best thing they give is just this Arma's head. Yep, so again I would say that it's a 2. There's a room for improvement. Yep. Okay, and for this Ant-Man, I actually give you a pretty high score during the review, which is a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's because of the head, and also because of the see-through that you can see his eye. This is pretty cool. I like it a lot, so that's why I give him a pretty high score for that. So the total score for Ant-Man will be 17.5 out of 25, so he's the second lowest by now. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, so next we have Ronin, okay, aka Hawkeye. So this overall look is I would say is looking pretty badass. If you are the kind that who likes ninja, or those that who likes the hoodie character, which is my kryptonite. I actually have a weak point for hoodie character like Assassin's Creed, you know. Yeah, so it looks very good. Yeah, he's very cool, even like without showing the face, he's looking very cool. So I would say the overall look, even with the gold paint, is actually painted very well. It just matches the whole figures. Yep. So for the aesthetic look, I would say that it should be I'll give him a perfect 5 because I really like this look, even though this is not the Hawkeye that I wanted in my collection, but I just love it in terms of this look. It's something special. Yeah, so I'll give him a 5 for this. Okay, then the next one, the likeness. We don't have a mask head for this figure, but from the eyes actually is pretty interesting because with the hood on, he actually looks a lot like the actor Jeremy, but when you remove it, he actually looks like a girl. So it's kind of contradicting, but I don't think you actually do it like this. It looks pretty odd, but with the hoodie on, he actually looks very much like him. Okay, so for the likeness, I will just maybe give him a average. Yeah, it doesn't deserve a good. Yeah, I'll say an average. Maybe it's a 3. Okay, so for the fun factor, yeah, he does come with a katana and some shit for the katana to go in, although it doesn't really go in. Yep, and a few things. It doesn't have the what do you call when you throw, the one that the Marvel Legends gave, the throwing the star, what ninja usually do. It doesn't have that. And the best thing is actually it can be removed. You can actually try it on other head. I'll be trying it on the Hawkeye that will be removed. Sorry, they will be released in October. So I believe it should fit pretty well. Or you can actually try it on the Marvel Legends one, as mentioned in my review before. So I would say the fun factor is, although it doesn't come with much, but yeah, ninja are especially fun to play with. It can be the actor, or you can buy a few and just be some enemy for your figure to fight with. Yeah, so it can be quite fun. So I would say it deserves a 4, which is good. Okay, and the score for this guy, which I give on the review, is actually pretty low. It's just a 7.5 out of 10 because I did mention that this is not the Hawkeye that you must get. The actual one is coming out on October, so this figure is not really must have unless you just want to complete everything that SH Figuarts giving you, just like me. Yeah, it's because of the hood I get this guy. Yeah, so the total score for this guy is actually 19.5 out of 25, which is not bad at all. So let's move on to the last contestant. Okay, so the last one is also the latest one that's being released, which is the Iron Man Mark 85. Okay, so for the overall look, I think this figure is one of the most beautiful piece among all the Iron Mans. That's my opinion, of course. What I mean is, if you put this one among all the others Iron Man, I believe this will stand out the most. One is because of the gold paint is actually very well done. I'll explain that a lot more later. I mean, the gold it actually matches it pretty well, and it's also a kind of resemblance to the classic comic versions that you can see on the screen. So yeah, so it's like they're taking that concept art and turn it into a movie version, the MCU version of the Iron Man. So it is also a very good tribute for Tony Stark because it's his last appearance in the MCU. Yep. So yep, spoiler alert, sorry if you haven't watched that, too bad. Yep. So I think aesthetically it looks very good. Yep. But it's not a perfect 5 because as I mentioned in my review, there are a few bad molds here and there you can see, especially on the gold part. And so far I think it happens to everyone else, just that some may not look as bad, but they definitely is there. It's because of the mold. Okay, so yep, I think I'll give him actually a 4. Okay, it's just a good because they actually improve on the art. It's actually transparent. It's looking very good. Yeah, and yeah, overall it's looking, but the body mold I would say is that I can't say that it's the exact same one as the Mark 50 because there are a lot areas that is different. I actually pointed it out in my comparison video that you can see. It is the video that's after the review for this guy. Okay, so for that we'll go through the lightness, the screen accuracy. That's pretty hard to judge because when he's on this armor, is actually the final battle in the Endgame, and it's of night time. So yeah, it's pretty hard to actually see whether is this screen accurate. But I would think that for the reputation of SH Figuarts, I don't think they will just create an armor out of nowhere. I believe there has been given a lot of material to be referenced by the Marvel in order to create this figure, so I won't doubt the likeness at all. So I would say that actually is a 4. It's a good. Okay, yeah, okay, because we don't have a unmasked Tony Stark head to actually say that the likeness. If they give a unmasked head or even a better damage that show half the face of Tony Stark and it actually looks like Tony Stark, then I will give him a perfect 5. Okay, but that's not the case now. Okay, as for the fun, okay, this is where it's lacking because this figure doesn't come with any extra nano weapons like the Mark 50 does. So it just gives the repulsor hands for the flight mode and also the attacks. That's pretty standard among all the SH Figuarts Iron Man. So I would say the fun factor here is I think we're probably going to give him a low 2 because it's areas to improve. They really need to give him more fun stuff like the Mark 50 Nano Weapon Set 2. Okay, so yep, you can argue that this is that one is oh no, that one is not even an exclusive as well. This is not exclusive, that is also not exclusive. Okay, so why the Mark 51 can have all the nano weapons and not this one? Maybe in future plans SH Figuarts will actually plan for more nano weapons set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know. But as of this one, it's actually pretty simple, so I'm giving him a 2. Okay, So as for the review for this guy, I believe he's the lowest among all. I'm actually just giving him a 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's because of the bad mold and also the lacking of the accessories. Okay, so the total score for this guy is actually 17 out of 25, which is actually at the low side. Okay, so this concludes the rating for each and every one of the 7 figures that's been released for Endgame. So now let's get to the summary, the final one that we see, which one is number 1 and which one is the best, which one is the worst one. Okay guys, so here is the result. Okay, surprisingly, Black Widow wins. She have a 22.5 out of 25, and the Mark 50 Nano Weapon Set 2 actually have just 0.5 score lesser. He have a 22 out of 25, and for Hawkeye, Ronin, he actually have 19. Okay, Thanos have 18, and the Ant Man has 17.5. Okay, and for these two, Cap and actually Mark 85, they are actually at the lowest one, which is 17 out of 25. Both of them are having the same score. That's why I stand them right next to each other. Okay, so yeah, I actually, before I do this rating, I actually thought this would win because I actually like him a lot, but surprisingly he lost by 0.5 to Black Widow. Okay, and I'm surprised that Ronin actually comes this front. I thought he would be the 5th or the 6th one, but I think it's because he have a high score, because I failed to mention just now that give him a very high score for the overall look is because this is entirely a new body. I'm not saying that there hasn't been a figure that has been released for this body, but at least for Ronin is for Hawkeye is an entirely new one. I mean, we don't see Hawkeye in this form before, so this as a character design, as a figure design, is considered a new, something fresh. Okay, you won't expect Hawkeye to come out in the Ronin form, so which is why I think I'm giving him a very high score. That's why he can be on the third place. Yep. So I believe many of you would have disagreed with me on this point. Yeah, so don't get angry. This is just purely my very own rating. Of course, those score given are also my very own opinions. Of course, you can have your very own one, but if you don't agree with me, I am actually welcome you to let me know why, and which one do you think is the best one in your own opinions after you watch this video. But if you agree with me, of course I'm very happy. At least I mean my thoughts are correct. Yeah, so this is again and again, it's just my own opinions. Okay, you don't have to take it seriously. Okay, this is just a fun video that my viewer requested, and I think of this fun way to actually rate them. Yep, so I hope you enjoy this video. Click the like button if you like this video, and of course leave me a comment if you have anything else to say about this kind of video, or you like to see something else more, and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Okay, right, until then, I'll speak to you real soon. Bye.